Aloha once again, friends and family. Awesome topic for today, which is the I and the me. And it's real simple to comprehend in the allegory of a rose bush. So think of a rose bush with its many beautiful, wonderful roses. But if we really looked at the roses, we would come to understand that every rose is different. There are no two like roses, just like there's no two like snowflakes. So humans are the roses on the rose bush. The roses are the me. The I that I am is the entire rose bush. So to take it on into the next realm, the rose bush is God. The roses are humans. Humans are constantly coming and going, but the rose bush remains at all times. There's only one rose bush. This is metaphor, I'm not being literal here. There's only one rose bush, which is God, or Source, or cosmic mind. So the problem humans are having in this world of illusion, distortion, is who are they? Who am I? Humans frequently ask. And you are either the I am or the me, or I should say, you're identifying either as the I am or the me. If you're identifying as the me, you're identifying as the rose. Can the rose abide apart from the rose bush? No, it can't. Cut a rose away from the rose bush, and its, let us say, lifespan is reduced greatly. Whereas if you leave the rose on the rose bush, it's going to go through its natural cycle, its natural lifespan. So this gets a little uncomfortable because we're presented with the possibility or reality that there is no me that goes on. There is no me that exists after this body drops away. So if you identify as the me, you're really going to be uncomfortable. Whereas if you identify as the I am, then you realize it does not matter that the roses come and go, come and go, come and go. The rose bush always exists. So are you the rose or the rose bush? Well, let's not get into separation and division. You are the entire thing. You are the entire rose bush. But the mistake that we make as humans is we get to thinking that we are this individuated rose and that is who I am. That is not who you are. That is the me. So when you are existing as the rose, you are me. You can say to yourself, that is me. That is part of me. That's not the full me, that's part of me at this time. But when that rose drops away, there is nothing left of me. But there is always remaining the I am, which is the great spirit within. So when we get clear on this, we're going to become comfortable identifying as the I am, or that great spirit, that eternal, never begins, never ends. That is who we are. But again, we're uncomfortable with that because we're so locked into this me that is here now, this manifestation of this rose. And so we struggle with letting go of that to realize that's just a temporary manifestation. You are the I am, and there is only one. That's how we are all one. Because we all have sprung from the one, and we all return to the one, in the sense that when the rose drops away, it's no longer or anywhere, because that never was truly you. You are the I am. You are the rose bush. You remain forever. So this thing of reincarnation then, does the rose or the me reincarnate over and over? Or is it just the one great spirit reincarnating over and over to become another rose, another rose, another rose, another rose? Now, whether there's a period of reincarnation and degrees, because we know there's degrees to everything out here, right? Degrees to hot and cold, degrees to good and bad. Is there also degrees of reincarnation that associate with, have to do with consciousness level or degree of consciousness? And so I don't know yet exactly. I'm still feeling this out and open to the truth, whatever it is. See, if the truth ends up being there is no reincarnation of the me, because that's just was a temporary phenomena on the phenomenal plane, just like a tree. Does the same tree reincarnate over and over? We would say, well, probably not, just from common sense, right? Because it doesn't need to. Why? Because other trees exactly like it, well, not exactly, but of the same species, are going to come in its place. So it doesn't need to specifically reincarnate that particular tree or that particular rose. Now, again, is there a period or a succession of time where we are reincarnating in order to get to a degree or level of consciousness at which time we become much more comfortable with being the I am or the all that we're not yet comfortable with because we're still quite attached to the me? Remains to be seen, I guess, right? Or maybe it's just merely a matter of dropping the old distortions and ideas, because they were all products of the ego that very much wants to survive death, very much does not want to think that there is just an ending to its self, its incarnation. But again, wouldn't that be because we, again, are identifying as that rose instead of the rose bush, of which there is only one? So in the last video, we came to understand and talked about the fact that we are God. You and God are one. So if you and God are one, you are identifying, at least we could say, more as God than you are of me, meaning the ego self. And as uncomfortable as it is, there is an empowerment that you can feel, or at least I can. Well, I'm sure you can too. Everybody can, that again gets to the degree of consciousness where they're moving further away from that ego trap, further away from that illusory version or vision of self being something separate from God. Again, the rose cannot abide apart from the rose bush very long. It's a beautiful, amazing feature of the rose bush, these roses. But ultimately, the rose bush is the whole bush. It's the whole rose bush. It's not a singular rose in all of its beauty and majesty. It will fall off and rot and become nourishment back to that rose bush that then reincarnates new humans or new roses. So are you comfortable, or can you see yourself becoming comfortable with identifying as the whole rose bush and letting go of this singular rose's need to go on after its time has elapsed, because it is temporal, though only the rose bush is eternal? And isn't that who we really are? Isn't that the great spirit within us? Isn't it interesting that this whole phenomenal plane that we were duped at one time or another to believe was reality, the hard reality, came about the exact same way that you as a human creates something. When you decide to create something, I'll use a painting since that's what I create. I first think of it, think about it, and then by faith, my hand moves and I pick a color and I pick a form and I begin to create. And I don't know what the whole thing's going to be when I start. I just move in faith and allow the expression to come forward from the mental plane. It comes. So God, Source, has created this entire universe the very same way and does it continually. It's from the mind of God. All of this was created, is created, and sustained. So this whole phenomenal plane is a mental projection from God. Illusory to the I am, but very real to the me. So enjoy your time as a rose. And be empowered as that rose through the knowing of all of your life and life force is sustained through the rose bush. Don't ever become that rose that's been cut away from the bush and is sitting in a vase and thinking, how wonderful am I, this rose, sitting in this vase with everybody gloating over me and giving me attention and looking upon me with splendor and everything else. Because you're fading fast if you're in that vase, if you've been removed from your source, the rose bush. Stay connected to the rose bush and be the most beautiful rose that you are. And you will be empowered greatly because all of your life force currency is flowing through that rose bush to you, the rose. And all you must do, simple, but difficult, is to identify as the whole rose bush and not the separated or separate rose. Then you will manifest the power of God. Then you will have the power of God. Then you can use the power of God. Then you have access to the power of God because you're no longer in ego consciousness. You're no longer in duality consciousness, separate and divided. You are the whole rose bush as the I. You are the rose as the me. So let us accept this. Let us know this. Let us live this. Let us manifest the power that is available to us when we come to this understanding. You're no longer limited by anything because you're no longer that separated, separate rose. You are the whole rose bush, and you have everything that it contains and has available to you as the rose. Temporary might you be in that form. And as always, we leave you in the love, the unity, and the light of the infinite Creator. Until next time, my beautiful friends and family.